is CTV News.
Good evening and thank you for joining us. Tonight, Windsor police have charged one of their own after an off-duty incident over the weekend where it's alleged his co-workers found him passed out behind the wheel. CTV's Travis Fortnum has our top story tonight.
In the early morning hours on Saturday, December 6th, Windsor police say they found a vehicle stopped at Jefferson and Tecumseh. The driver, an off-duty police constable, allegedly asleep behind the wheel. Police allege that when officers woke him up, he took off. They didn't pursue, but say they found him a short distance away, again asleep, and arrested him without incident. Constable Sean Rhodes now facing 3 charges, including impaired operation and fleeing from police. CTV News has also learned a Windsor police officer with the same name was charged in July of 2024 after allegedly refusing to provide a breath sample during a traffic stop. CTV asked Windsor police to confirm whether the 2 Constable Sean Rhodes were the same person, and if so, whether he was still under suspension at the time of Saturday's arrest. The service did not answer, saying only they won't provide further information while the case is before the courts.
People won't remember the 12 lives that were saved in the last year or whatever great successes the police had. To remember an officer got charged in impaired driving. That's a sad situation.
Lewis says repeat allegations even before any finding of guilt can weaken community trust. Under Ontario's policing legislation, officers suspected of misconduct, including criminal charges, are typically suspended with pay.
That's always an issue that the public really struggles with.
Suspension without pay is rare and limited to more serious or restrictive circumstances. The Police Association of Ontario says in a statement, the suspension with pay process ensures fairness, preserves the presumption of innocence, and upholds due process. While suspended, an officer cannot perform police duties or exercise police powers. There's no set time limit. A suspension can stay in place until court and disciplinary matters are resolved, or the chief can lift it at any time, though Lewis says that's uncommon mid-proceeding. And if an officer is convicted of a criminal offense, a separate disciplinary process follows.
They're automatically convicted under the Police Services Act of the offense of discreditable conduct, for which they can be fired and a variety of other things.
Travis Fortnum, CTV News.
Meantime, Windsor police have charged 2 men in connection with a sexual assault and robbery. Officers were called to the 3100 block of Howard Avenue early this morning, where they learned a female victim arranged to meet a man she met online. When she entered the man's vehicle, a second unknown man was inside. Both men allegedly attempted to touch the victim in a sexual manner. The victim refused to engage in any sexual activity and attempted to call 911. But at that time, one suspect allegedly choked her and stole her belongings before the 2 men fled the scene. Approximately 2 hours later, officers located and arrested both suspects. In other news, get ready to see Air Transat grounded. Its pilots are poised to walk off the job early Wednesday morning. The airline is already suspending flights and shutting down operations. CTV's Heather Wright on the last-minute negotiations to avoid travel turbulence.
Travelers at Toronto's Pearson Airport checked into their flights this afternoon with an added bit of uncertainty.
A little bit nervous, but I'm hoping everything will be okay and we'll be home next Monday.
The union representing Air Transat's pilots has issued a 72-hour strike notice, with pilots poised to walk off the job early Wednesday morning if an agreement is not reached.
I mean, it is what it is. I mean, it's not really much we can do about it.
In anticipation of a strike, Air Transat has begun bringing its passengers back home. The airline says flights have been operating as usual today, but it's not clear whether flights will be canceled Tuesday, which the airline had said was possible. The 2 sides have been in negotiations for nearly a year, and experts say the timing of this strike notice is no accident.
They're doing this because this is the period of time where Transat is making its most money. It's the busiest time of the year for Transat. Planes are full, fares are high.
The 2 sides remain at the bargaining table, with ALPA, the Airline Pilots Association that represents the 700 Air Transat pilots, saying in a statement, while some progress has been made, there is still work to do. We are working tirelessly to reach an agreement that achieves the collective priorities of our group. Air Transat says it has offered its pilots wage increases of 59% over the next 5 years, a number the union has called creative accounting. The union's demands are considered unreasonable, and its premature actions carry serious consequences for customers, the company, and its 4,300 other employees. Air Transat has struggled financially over the last several years and has not turned an annual profit since 2018.
When asked last week if the federal government would intervene if Air Canada pilots hit the picket line, Jobs Minister Patty Hajdu declined to answer, calling it a hypothetical question. Ottawa did get involved when Air Canada flight attendants went on strike in August, a back-to-work order the union ignored. Heather Wright, CTV News, Mississauga, Ontario.
Here in Windsor, there's hope Air Transat flights will continue taking off as planned. CTV's Robert Lothian explains.
Air Transat service out of Windsor International Airport could be grounded before it even has a chance to take off.
To get it back and Air Transat coming back as a partner is great for us. Obviously, we're very hopeful that there'll be an agreement before next Friday when they're scheduled to start.
In May, the airport announced Air Transat would begin weekly flights to the Dominican Republic starting December 19th, running until April. Galvin says it would mark the airline's return to Windsor after more than 7 years.
There's been a great uptake on it, and obviously we're constantly looking for what this region wants and try to deliver that.
A potential disruption comes before many Windsor-Essex travelers hope to head south for the holidays.
It's a very unfortunate time because nobody's got a crystal ball as to what's going to happen, so it's an anxious time for people.
Windsor-based travel agent Al Valente says he has been hearing from worried clients. His biggest piece of advice is to avoid making panicked decisions.
If your flight gets canceled, you will get refunded. It may take some time. As you can understand, there's going to be a backlog of refunds if that is the case. But you will be out of a flight, and it may be difficult to find a flight at this time of year.
Both Valente and Galvin are hopeful Air Transat can avoid a work stoppage, returning this service to Windsor, but are advising passengers to stay up to date on the airline's guidance. Robert Lothian, CTV News, Windsor.
The province says early next year it will be issuing licenses to 4 new community surgical and diagnostic centres to perform orthopedic surgeries in Ontario. And the Windsor Orthopedic Surgical Centre is one of them. The move is part of the Ford government's plan to spend $125 million over the next 2 years to ramp up orthopedic surgeries at private clinics, allowing the centres to perform publicly funded surgeries for hip and knee replacements. The move, the province says, will reduce wait times for hip and knee surgeries and will support up to 20,000 additional publicly funded orthopedic surgeries. Windsor Regional Hospital says it's seeing a sharp rise in influenza cases months earlier than expected. Health officials are urging residents to take precautions as the flu makes a stronger than usual return. CTV's Chris Campbell reports.
Windsor Regional Hospital is sounding the alarm tonight, reporting a noticeable spike in influenza cases across all age groups.
So since October 1st, we've had 161 patients test positive for influenza A and 1 test positive for influenza B. As people may or may not know, influenza B usually spikes after influenza A, so more like February, March.
Public Health says the flu is circulating widely, with the H3N2 strain dominating tests. New federal data shows a spike of positive lab tests across the country, upwards of 61%.
We see a significant increase in the number of transmission based on the wastewater surveillance data that we have in hand.
Obviously, weather's getting colder, everybody's getting inside, everybody's getting closer.
Local pharmacies are also seeing the impact, from more people seeking flu shots to rising demand for over-the-counter medication.
A lot more requests for flu shots, that's for sure. It's been really hard to get this year. This year's been somewhat problematic. Usually it's been pretty smooth. This year's been a little bit more sketchy. So we have shots and don't have shots, but a lot of people are asking for them. So.
I think it's necessary. I do.
And some residents aren't taking chances.
I have an 89-year-old mother, and that's one of the main things I did this year was get her in for that.
I don't want to get the flu, and I'm old.
With holiday gathering season upon us, health officials say getting vaccinated, staying home when sick, and good hygiene remain the best ways to limit the spread, especially with hospital pressures mounting.
For every case that we see in the hospital, it means that there's multiple cases out in the community as well.
Basic etiquette. Washing hands, being nice. If you're sick, we're used to tough through and go into work. Probably not better to go in to make everybody else sick because they want to spend the holidays healthy and happy.
This is the time. We have a couple of weeks until we get to the height of the transmission. So get the vaccine. If you haven't had the chance to get the vaccine.
Chris Campbell, CTV News.
If you have been asking for a smaller blue recycling cart, we have some good news. Circular Materials, the company responsible for the province-wide recycling program, says any resident across Windsor-Essex who wants a smaller cart can now get one. Recycling cart exchange form will be available in a week's time. Residents who fill it out will be able to exchange their current 360-litre recycling cart for a 240-litre cart. And a reminder to residents from the town of Tecumseh to remove all green bins, garbage bins and recycling bins, along with vehicles and any other objects off the road and out of the way so snow plows can have access to clear snow all the way to the curb. With more on the snowy conditions to come, CTV meteorologist Gary Archibald will join us after the break. And nominations are out. Still ahead, the 83rd Golden Globe Awards celebrating the best in TV and film. Gary joins us now for an extended look at the weather. Gary, a lot to talk about tonight. It is cold out there.
It's cold enough to see some snow, which is on the way right now. Good evening once again, Stefanie. Folks, the temperatures as we approach midnight, close to -10 at midnight, towards 1 a.m. between -15, -17, the wind chill values. Wow, yeah, that's cold. And this late fall season has been very wintry. But there's some overlap between the seasons, so we're used to this. It's December after all. -4 today. Our average high is closer to +3, so well below seasonal. We got snow working its way through the Virginias, West Virginia into Virginias proper, and some rain along the coast, which will ramp up, head east towards the Maritimes and Atlantic region in Canada's east. We are in the lull, but there is a very small disturbance across Lake Huron. Some lake effects snow. We've seen that over the last few days. I don't anticipate much through the overnight, but a bit of a clearing between midnight and 3 a.m. and then the clouds start to move in as the system that's over Minnesota finally arrives. Snow tomorrow morning, followed by another round of snow, then rain, then snow as we head towards Tuesday night into Wednesday morning through the midday. Yes, snow tonight. Very light across Lake Huron, a few flurries, maybe in Bell River and Lakeshore, depending on how the winds set up, if they come straight out of the north. And there's potential of some rain as we warm up. I'll break that down for you in just a moment. So tomorrow morning's commute, 2 to 5 centimeters is possible between Windsor, Essex, and Chatham-Kent starting around 8 a.m. as the system works its way over Michigan into southern Ontario. Lots of snow on the 401 corridor if you have travel plans for business and pleasure. Perhaps both, the next 24 to 48 hours. Rain will be a part of the story, and we can anticipate that as temperatures warm up above the freezing mark. Then they'll get below it Tuesday and Wednesday. More on that in just a moment. The overnight temperature is mentioned probably about -9 to -10 before dawn, but we'll get that early in the day, technically between midnight and 1 a.m. Yeah, that's part of tomorrow morning. And then look at this breakdown. Snow and windy. And that 2 to 5 for the morning commute into The midday and afternoon, we'll see a high +1. Then Wednesday, a rain-snow mix, as mentioned, and we're above the freezing mark. That's why we're seeing rain changing over to snow and back again, etc., etc. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, cold enough again and below seasonal again to see snow 3 to 6 degrees below the averages for daytime highs.
A big push for economic growth at today's Windsor-Essex Chamber of Commerce, AGM. Chamber President Ryan Donnelly says expanding opportunities will rely heavily on partnerships with both St. Clair College and the University of Windsor. CTV's Bob Belichico explains.
Ryan Donnelly describes his first year as president of the Chamber of Commerce as tumultuous, taking the helm just as the tariff era began.
This has been an opportunity for us to demonstrate the importance of what a Chamber of Commerce is.
In February, the Chamber launched an economic trade task force, sharing information across industries and then sending those findings directly to government.
I can tell you for a fact that the federal government has used a lot of the information that we provided up to them as they were shaping their regional tariff response initiative and their defense initiative that just came out.
Donnelly expects to see more government investment in local companies next year. He also says there is a push to expand the region's economic base.
So it's automotive and defense, automotive and oil and gas, automotive and aerospace. Similarly, we're going to try to work with companies to internationalize, so it's not just Canada and the U.S., it's Canada, U.S., and Germany, for argument's sake, or South Korea.
At today's AGM at the Chicharo Club, both presidents of the University of Windsor and St. Clair College addressed the audience and spoke about their role in the economic future of our region. University of Windsor President J.J. McMurtry says Canada is experiencing a skills gap and that the university is well positioned to help fill that gap, thanks in part to graduate-level international students.
The majority of our international students are students who are at the master's level, and that really, I think, improves both our relationships with other countries, but also improves the skills gap here in Canada.
St. Clair College President Mike Silvaggi says one of their focuses is offering programs that produce job-ready graduates.
When we talk about information and intelligence, a lot of that comes from entrepreneurs, from those that are working and trying to build a better future for the city.
Bob Belichico, CTV News.
New data shows more people are employed across Windsor-Essex than ever before.
These are the best employment numbers we've ever had in Windsor-Essex. We've set records for the most number of people working.
More than 246,000 people were employed in the region last month, according to Statistics Canada. Windsor's unemployment rate is down to 8.1%. This comes after recording the highest jobless rate in the country earlier this year. Workforce Windsor-Essex CEO Justin Faulkner points to the return of a third shift at Windsor Assembly as the economic driver.
So it encourages, people go out to eat, they, buy more retail, they just, shop more, they'll clean their windows, they'll they just purchase services that they may not otherwise would have, any other day of the month.
Canada's main stock index was weighed down by losses in the telecom, utility, and energy sectors. The TSX lost 141 points. In New York, the Dow fell 216. The Nasdaq dropped 32. The Canadian dollar is up 0.1 cent. On commodity markets, gold dropped $25 an ounce. Oil is down $1.20 a barrel. Cans for a Cause is back for its 22nd year.
Join us as we broadcast live from Devonshire Mall.
We'll be collecting cash and non-perishable food items for the Society of St. Vincent de Paul.
We need your help, generosity, and goodwill.
Visit us online for more information.
Start your day with the latest local news. By signing up for our newsletter, you'll get direct local content straight from CTV Windsor to your inbox, including top stories, the forecast, and videos. You can sign up at ctvnewswindsor.ca. With the number of patients up, Canada is now looking at a new express entry category for foreign trained doctors. Canada's immigration minister says it's all about more hands on deck to address frontline shortages and staff. CTV's Mike Couture on the changes and the criteria for admission.
Nearly 6 million Canadians do not have a primary care doctor. While the numbers have improved in the last 3 years, the government is trying to keep more physicians in this country.
We need more hands on deck.
In an effort to bolster the number of doctors in this country, the federal government is opening a new system to fast-track permanent residency for doctors who are working in Canada.
Many of these doctors are already treating patients in our communities. We cannot afford to lose them.
The program creates an express entry category for international doctors with at least 1 year Canadian experience in an eligible occupation. The federal government is reserving 5,000 spots for provincially nominated doctors. And those healthcare workers will get expedited 14-day work permit processing. The measures come as a major national survey shows more Canadians have a family doctor or nurse practitioner compared to 3 years ago. 5.9 million Canadians still don't have primary care. But those that do struggle with getting a timely or urgent appointment.
Less than 50% reported being able to get that. So we still have a long way to go in terms of providing timely care and care when people need it, even for those who do have a family doctor.
A past president of the Canadian Medical Association also wants to see logistical barriers moved out of the way.
I want to make sure that we're getting rid of any red tape, any barriers to having physicians moving around the country to help where needs are greatest, for physicians who are coming in from other countries to be able to contribute to the system.
The immigration minister says provinces and territories will be able to start nominating physicians for the Express Entry program in early 2026. Mike Couture, CTV News, Ottawa.
Here's something for anyone looking for a Celtic all-ages musical adventure. It's tradition with a twist. The world-famous Celtic Woman is bringing their tour, A New Era, to Caesars Windsor on April 17th. From bagpipes to quartets, it promises to fill the Coliseum with Celtic harmonies and high-energy dancers. Tickets do go on sale on Friday. The 83rd Golden Globe Award nominations were announced this morning, celebrating television and film and so much more. CTV's Andrea Case has the details.
I need to find my daughter. Well, then call us back when you have the time.
They call it Golden Globe morning, and for some, it was a good morning. Leonardo DiCaprio's latest, One Battle After Another, continues to win critics over, if not the box office. In close second, Ryan Coogler's Sinners picked up 7 nominations, including 2 for Coogler himself and 1 for actor Michael B. Jordan. He should have received 2. After all, he plays twins. Film critic Richard Krause says there is one big snub in the film category, the musical Wicked for Good. It received 5 nominations, including 2 for its lead actresses, and it also received a nod in the relatively new category, Cinematic and Box Office Achievement.
If you look further along down in the list, there's no John Chu for director. There are a lot of stuff. So there's no joy in the Wicked household, I don't think, this morning.
The Globes are voted on by a group of close to 400 members of international film critics known as the Hollywood Foreign Press. This year, unlike in the past, a number of foreign language films made the cut. The global phenomenon K-pop Demon Hunters snagged 3 nominations, including, no surprise here, Best Song from a Motion Picture, Golden. In the television category, The White Lotus, The Pit, and the British teen crime drama Adolescence received multiple nominations. And with approximately 115 million people tuning into a podcast each week, the Globes have added, for the first time, a new category, Best Podcast.
Where's Joe Rogan? You know, if you're thinking about podcasts that have sort of defined what podcasts are, Joe Rogan, where's Mark Maron? He just recently wrapped up his podcast after 16 years, and he is considered to be kind of the godfather, the grandfather of the podcast genre.
Comedian Nikki Glaser will roast or make that host the 83rd annual Golden Globes, launching award season into full swing on January 11th. Andrea Case, CTV News.
Gary joins me again. Gary, it should be a good show.
A good show? Yeah. Lots of flash and Hollywood panache, if you will. However, the weather story, not so impressive if you don't like it cold. And the next few days with snow and maybe even some rain mixed in for good measure could make things, well, potentially hazardous on area roads. Salting and sanding, obviously, walkways, sidewalks, driveways. I think that's good advice. 2 to 5 centimeters as we head towards tomorrow midday. Then a snow-rain mix for Wednesday. Bit of a break, some sunshine, early morning flurries, and then more flurries Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And a week from now, look at this, snow likely. Maybe 5 to 10 centimeters is a computer model suggesting the next big storm headed our way a week from now. Cold, wind chill values in the minus teens tomorrow morning when you're headed out. The extra layers required, no doubt. Good night.
A London woman is back home after a whirlwind overseas adventure, shooting a Netflix game show. She says she applied on a whim, and although she didn't bring back any prize money, the experience was priceless. Lauren Stallone reports.
Meet Selena Farrugia, better known as Player 119 on Squid Game The Challenge.
Over 200,000 people applied to be on Squid Games, and only 456 people got chosen. So it was like, you're asking yourself all these questions like, why me?
Farrugia says she was scrolling Instagram with her sister when an ad popped up encouraging them to apply.
I'm down to do anything all the time.
The sisters quickly put together an audition video.
Hey, Squid Game!
And the rest was history. Producers called them the Canadian Kardashians, but when Farrugia's sister had to drop out, she didn't let that stop her from making her dreams a reality.
I went to my parents, I'm like, I'm going alone.
Filmed in the United Kingdom, the Netflix reality competition show has contestants compete in a series of high-stake children's games in pursuit of a $4.5 million cash prize.
The experience I had when I was there was insane. Obviously, I wish I could have pushed myself and got myself further.
Even with an early exit, Farrugia walked away with something worth more than millions, a chance to represent Canadians on a global stage.
I'm just a girl from London, Ontario, and anything is possible. And it's just even if I went on the show and I wanted to win and I wanted to walk out with that $4.56 million, that could have changed my life, you don't know where anything could take you, so just try.
Lauren Stallone, CTV News.
Love her positivity. That is your news for tonight. Thank you for joining. See you right back here tomorrow.